going on? It's Colin here again, back with another engine video. This is an update on the Witte engine. For those of you guys who haven't seen the first video, I'll put a link to it somewhere up there, and I'll also put a link in the description. But this is my 1923 Witte Model B 3-horse throttle governed engine. It's the tag, serial number 8091. And you can watch the other video on it where I got it running for all the details of where this came from and whatnot. But I just wanted to do a little update video on it because for those of you guys who have seen that video, you'll see that there are some changes here, and I just kind of wanted to go over them. Plus I've done some work to how this thing runs since then, so I figured I'd do that too, you know, show that as well. But anyways, without any further ado, the first and biggest change that I've made is the cart situation, because the one that was on this thing was a total piece of crap. No offense to the guy that built it, but I was just not a fan, and all the wood was completely rotted out and the wheels didn't turn. So needless to say, this moving this thing around was quite a pain. So I went ahead and I went down to the Power Association and I got some fresh lumber milled down on the antique sawmill that's there, which is pretty cool because he used an antique sawmill to mill down the wood for an antique engine cart. So it's just kind of rough cut lumber, and I made it actually real dimensions. So this is a 3x4 and this is actually 2x4. So it gives it that old lumber look, that nice chunky look, which is what I wanted. And I put a couple coats of outdoor polyurethane on it, and I think it came out pretty darn good. Wheels I got from my buddy Brad. The rear axle is a piece of pipe, as you can see, and I lag bolted that through. All these cross members have both these 1/2-inch bolts that go all the way through, and then there's a lag bolt that comes up on the other side. I tried my best to hide all the bolts from the bottom too. I think I just said that the wheels came from my buddy Brad. And the front axle is my steering setup, but I don't think I built it strong enough because it bent a little bit and it's not really steering. So I'm going to have to beef this up a little bit. But just to show you guys the concept, what it is, there you can see how bent it is. I'm going to have to do something about that. But what it is, it's a piece of pipe, and I welded in some 5/8" round stock. You can see I plug welded it a couple times in there. Also just ramming it in there in the first place held it pretty tightly. And then in the center is a big, I think it's actually a 1/2-inch bolt, which is probably where I went wrong. I should have gone something a little thinner, so that I think that middle point there is weak. So maybe I'll sleeve this pipe in another one or something like that to strengthen it a bit. But it's a big bolt. That goes through, there's a washer, and then that flat washer that's on the wood there is actually countersunk and screwed in. I'm going to throw in some pictures here while I'm talking. That's screwed into the wood so that one doesn't move. Then the bolt comes all the way through, and it's just double nutted right there. So that's how that works. Obviously, didn't build it quite strong enough, so I'm going to have to redo that. But that's the concept at least. I redid the drain here. So it comes out and under. I got this nice brass shutoff, which I like. Not going to turn it on now because it's on the cardboard, but that used to just kind of stick out here and then go over, and it wasn't so good. So that's a lot nicer too. And I don't have to lift half the cart anymore just to move it. So that's kind of nice. But yeah, I'm pretty darn happy with the way it came out overall. I got to do a little work to the steering, but that's about it. In terms of engine, the engine itself, the biggest thing is I got a real pipe on it now. This is just a piece of black iron pipe, and I cut it on an angle, and it's got a nice sound to it. I like it. Rather than that stupid pipe that just kind of set off on an angle, this is really on there, which I like the look of it better. I also made real shims for all these bearings because I found out shortly after the last video was made that the space was made up with gasket material, which wasn't so good, so I made some real brass shims. That took quite a while because it needed a decent amount of space in there. Did it for the connecting rod also. So that's all spaced out nicely now. And I've done a lot of work with the intake system between playing with the tension there and the spring in here and the piece of rubber in there to try and get it right, because at the last plow day in April, I could not get this thing to run right at all. It was misfiring and cycling and everything, and it just wasn't right. So I spent a lot of time messing around with that. It's not perfect, but it's much better. It does misfire every once in a while, which it didn't do when I first got it running. So I'm still trying to figure out why that is, but overall it still runs pretty decently. And you'll see when I fire it up, I've also slowed this thing down quite a bit since the last video, because I like them when they run slow. I don't know, there's something about it I like. So you'll see that. And Topher, hopefully I'm saying your name right first off, but if you're watching, that section will be for you. You can see how slow I've gotten it. And maybe we'll get to see what you did with your Witte. Get this going back and forth. I think you have one if I remember correctly. Just keep this going back and forth, I guess. But yeah, I think you might get a kick out of that. Also put a new spark plug in it, because the old one was not having it anymore. It just wasn't working so good. But yeah, I think that's about all I've done, you know, to the engine and the cart and whatnot since the last video. So what do you guys say? We'll put you guys up on the tripod and fire it up. Alright, put you guys up on the tripod here. Let's see what she does. Gonna turn the speed up just a touch. Got some gas in the starter chamber still. Gonna open that up a little bit. Timing's retarded. I should probably put grease in the grease cups, but we're not running it very long today, so the oiler's on. Let's see what happens. I'm going to open up the main fuel supply here. I shut the starting tank off. And she's away. Let it run at this speed a little while, let it warm up a little bit, then we can slow our way down. And yes, we're shooting some smoke because I left that oiler on for quite a while. But that's alright with me. Take you guys off the tripod and give you a little walk around. Normally it doesn't bounce around quite as much as this, but it's also on asphalt on a slight incline, not on grass. So it's a little light on this side, but here it is running fast. This is a little fast for my taste. I like them going a little slower. But everybody seems to like this engine. Between all the weird noises it makes and all the gadgets and gizmos and machinery whirring around, it's quite a showstopper. Even for people who don't like engines. I've showed this to and they like it. But for me, I love just how mechanical it is. You see everything on the outside, everything's moving. It's just interesting. It's misfiring a bit more for where I care for, but I'm still working on it. At least it's running. Probably running a touch red. That's 8 cycling. I think also that adjustment needle's a little worn out. I don't think it's the most precise measuring anymore. Oh, it's 8 cycling a little bit, but you know, the other weird thing about this is it misfires less when the timing is retarded, which seems like those two things shouldn't, you know, those two things shouldn't go together, but they do. So I'm still working on it. If anybody has any ideas, let me know. But also, I love the new pipe. It's got a nice sound. I don't know how good of a job this camera does at picking up low bassy thumps like this thing's got, but it's got a nice low thump to it and I like it. But I'm going to put you guys down for a second and I'm going to try and slow this thing down and I'll check back in with you guys in a second. Before I slow it all the way down, all I did from that last clip is retard the timing and now it's firing every single time, like it should. So, if anybody has any ideas there, I'd love to know because that's kind of bugging me a little bit. But now let's just go ahead and slow it all the way down. There we go. That's where I like it. So Topher, if you're watching, that's about as slow as I've gotten it. It looks faster on camera than it does in person. When it misfires, you can see the crank pause for a second. It's crazy. Especially the cam, too. It's going slow enough that the governor weights are just flopping around there. But every time it misfires, it almost stops. And for those of you who are wondering how I've gotten it this slow, what I did was I repositioned the governor shaft. You know, the actual coupler on the throttle shaft that connects to the governor. I repositioned that so that it pulls the throttle shaft literally as close as it will go. I've taken all the spring tension off of it, and I fully retarded the timing. And then you play with the mixture a little bit, which I still don't have perfect, obviously. And you get this. Nice and slow, and you got a nice loud thump, too. So I'm very happy with that. I just gotta work out this misfiring issue a little bit and then it will be perfect. There you go. Ooh, it almost stopped. Running a touch rich, but yeah, that's about as slow as I can get it. Well, stopped on its own. Oh well. Probably made the mixture a little too lean there. But I just wanted to get this video out there. I know it's going to be a little bit on the quick side. School is finally finishing up. I've just been, you know, super busy with the business and school stuff recently, so I haven't had a heck of a lot of time to do this stuff. But again, just figured I'd put a quick video out there for you guys, show you what the updates are with the Witte, and also for Topher to show you exactly what I was talking about in the comment section on your videos. For you, those of you guys who don't know who that is, by the way, Topher, I'll put a link to his YouTube channel in the description. He's a fellow YouTuber who does engine videos kind of like me, and he's got some really neat stuff. So if you guys haven't checked him out, go down in the description down below and check out his channel, because it's kind of small and he deserves more subscribers than he has, because he's got some really neat stuff. So go ahead down there, and if you're watching, hopefully you like how slow I've gotten the Witte here. But anyways, guys, I think I'll wrap this one up here. I gotta go do a little bit of homework, unfortunately. But anyways, thank you all for watching. If you like what you see, you know what to do. Hit the little like and subscribe buttons. I'd appreciate that. By all means, leave a comment if you have one, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.